Hi guys, welcome back to Mono Motorcycles Workshop. I'm James and this is
Nathan.
Today we are building a Honda E-Cub using a Shanghai Customs E-Cub kit. This uses the Honda Cub frame and turns it into an electric motorcycle slash moped. First thing we're going to do today is we're going to start with doing the forks, and then we're going to move on to doing both wheels and go from there. We'll show you all the little bits it takes to put one of these awesome motorcycles together. So let's get started. Hi guys, so first step we're going to do is we're going to fit our tyres and inner tube to our lovely beautiful rims from Shanghai Customs, and we'll show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so we're going to put this tyre paste on, just allows the tyre to slip onto the rim a little bit easier. And there's our front wheel done. This is the rear wheel, but we're going to keep the electrics in the air so they don't get caught as the machine turns around. Just so you know, you can do this on the floor and using tyre irons and things like that, but this makes it a lot easier as we've got the right equipment to do it. Okay, there's our rear wheel tyre and motor set up, ready to go. Okay, so before we can fit the rear wheel, we need to fit our disc and our disc spacer. So we slide the disc spacer on first, like that, and then slide the disc on as well.
Okay, so we're going to put these on. No, we're going to put the forks on first.
Yep.
And then we're going to put this on like that. And then
the top bearing and then the top nut. Place the top bearings.
So the bearings are facing that way.
Okay, so we're winding this top nut down to seat the bearings in place, and then we're going to give it a little tap with a punch and a hammer just to make sure it's seated correctly. Okay, so before installing the swing arm, you need to make sure you fit your swing arm packers like so, and then we're going to go ahead and install the swing arm like this. There we go. Okay, install the washer and the nut. And it also has a lock nut to go with it as well. Lift the swing arm up, place the lower half of the shock and the upper half of the shock. On the C90 frames you require 2 spaces, but make sure the shock is nice and straight. Okay, so you put these nuts on and add a spacer in between on ours. You might have to feel around on what you need to do with your one, because each C90 or Cub frame is slightly different. And then repeat the same process on the other side. Okay, we're now going to slide the rear wheel onto the swing arm. So we're going to place our caliper bracket in position. The older caliper bracket is this one here. It comes with a spacer, but we can now use this one and put it in position. So these also are torque arms to allow stop the wheel from spinning on itself. Okay, so next step we are going to remove these 2 bolts from our caliper and caliper bracket, and we're going to put the correct bolts and spacers in here to allow for the brake caliper to sit correctly without rubbing against the disc. Then we're going to get the spacer, place it between the caliper and the caliper bracket to lift the caliper off of the disc. So this is a torque arm for the rear wheel. We're going to place this torque arm bolt in the side of there and do it up just to hold it in place, and then we're going to set the caliper using spacers and washers to get it to sit perfectly within the middle of the disc. Okay, quick note, we decided to remove the washers here just to allow the threads to come fully through on the lock nut on the back. We've done that on both sides. It's hard to see there, you should be able to see it. So we're going to put these on, spin them onto each side and give them a nice little nip, including the lock nut over the top like that. Okay, so now we're going to fit the front brake hub onto the front wheel and then fit the front wheel onto the bike. Okay, so we've got to slide the front wheel on. You've got to make sure this groove goes in the slot bolt. Okay, so normally you'd have this axle and one spacer. You'd slide the axle through, put the spacer in the other side of the wheel, and then put this bolt on, making sure that plate there lines up like you said a minute ago. But unfortunately, because we're using wider forks on this bike, you put a bolt here instead of just going onto that flap, just to extend this so this will hold the drum in place. Okay, so now we're going to take this off, attach it to the brake drum like that, feed it through there, tighten it up, and then feed the cable up the fork leg just to stick out the top, ready for when the bars go on. Okay, so normally the top fork section would be a lot closer together and would fit quite snugly against that. Then you screw the bolts in. But what we're going to do instead, because we're using the wider forks, we're going to use a bolt through it like that, with a lock nut on that bolt, and then the lock nut is going to go up against that and hold it in place. Okay, before putting these on the bike, it might be easier to put the handlebar risers on first. So just get them on lightly, and then we'll get the top yoke in position. So before you put the yoke in, you'll put this cushioning rubber down so it stops vibration in the handlebars, and then we're going to put the top yoke on top of that. Okay. The yoke plate locking bolts need to be done before we do this stuff. Okay, normally you would have your indicators here. We're not running indicators, we're going to run bar end indicators. Put the bars in position, a rough position anyway for now, and then we're going to fit all the both brake levers and throttle housing and grips. We're just working out a rough position for the bars. Okay, now I'm going to place the dash in position on the bars. Obviously this can all be adjusted later once the bike is rolling at least. Okay, installing each individual handlebar lever, front brake and rear. Just put it into the rough position, ready to be set later. Okay guys, there you go. That was day one of the Ecub build, the Honda Ecub build. We'll finish up the handlebars tomorrow and move through with the electrics and connecting all the brakes up and the throttle cables and things like that. Thanks for watching and
See you in the next video.
Awesome guys, thanks a lot. See you soon.